Yeah, a ton of respect for Baker's journey. To go have success in Cleveland, have to navigate some things through a couple years there, going to a couple other spots, and then coming out on top in Tampa and playing just phenomenal football. Again, he's playing as well as anyone in this league. His confidence, his swagger, his decisiveness, it shows up each and every week. His ability to make big plays, and they've won a bunch of games down the stretch because the ball's in his hands, and that's all the credit you can ask for from a quarterback.
Kellen Moore talking about Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield, who before last week was likely the front runner for the MVP. Monday Night Football, the Bucs get smashed by the Lions 24-9. Mahomes has been Mahomesian of late, and so maybe you've seen that flip a little bit. But what Kellen Moore said there is right about this Tampa Bay team. They have found a way to win games. They beat the Falcons 23-20 in Week 1. They beat the Texans 20-19 in Week 2, both those games on the road. They come home against the Jets and find a way 29-27. They lost a close game at the Eagles, but then they went to Seattle, won 38-35, and they put it on San Francisco 30-19. They started 5-1 before losing on Monday Night Football in Detroit against a really good Detroit team and a defense led by former Tiger Kelvin Shepherd on Monday, which is one of the really interesting things. And you have talked about this for years, for as long as I've known you. Probably the thing that's maybe the most understated or underrated factor that people don't talk about with professional athletes is travel. Yeah. Now, I know in baseball, there's way more games and everything, but look at this week. Tampa plays on Monday night in Detroit. They lose that game 24-9. They fly home late Monday night to Tampa, right? Tuesday's an off day. Wednesday they don't practice because it's just a walkthrough at that point because they played the day. Everything's set back a day. So they practice Thursday. They practice Friday. They're going to fly to New Orleans on Saturday and then play a game on Sunday. Yeah. I mean, it's a quick turnaround, short week, and they got 17 guys on the injury report. There's no Mike Evans, who will be lost to the end of the season. There's no Chris Godwin. Hassan Reddick, their best edge rusher, is out for this game. And Vita Vea, their zero technique nose tackle, who's an awesome player, is a Pro Bowl player, was injured in practice this week with a foot injury. He ended up not practicing Thursday, Friday, and he's questionable for the game on Sunday. So it's one of those things where the quick turnaround and the injuries that have bitten Tampa make them look not quite like the team that was finding a way to win so many games early in the season when, as you heard Kellen Moore say, they found a way with Baker. Yeah.
Look, the travel absolutely plays a major role in this thing. Pro athletes in general are creatures of habit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You'll find yourself eating the same meals, wearing the same outfits, obviously not on consecutive days, but the superstition of repetitiveness is a real thing. And so anytime in travel you get thrown off a little bit, it makes it difficult. I'll say this, though, we can talk about the injuries and all that all you want, but, I mean, Baker Mayfield is just on a whole nother level since putting that uniform on.
He's playing awesome, man.
And I always have to go with the quarterback, man, and the guy that you say finds a way to win. It's not the Bucs finding a way; it's Baker Mayfield finding a way to win, playing off point pretty much the entire game. And so, man, I don't have a whole lot of hope there for that one.
So whenever I'm undecided on a game, I look at three things: I look at quarterback, coach, and venue. I'm not undecided on this game, by the way, but quarterback, you're right. Baker clearly over Spencer Rattler at this point. I mean, we were just talking about how Baker up until this week was getting lead MVP love.
Yeah.
Coach, it's hard to go against Todd Bowles. I mean, Kellen Moore is a first-year head coach who's 1-6 out the gate. Todd Bowles, they've won the division the last 2 years. And in this game a year ago, Todd Bowles twice made life hell for Spencer Rattler. And you look at the venue, this is the game, this is in the Dome, but the Saints so far this year at home are 1-3, and last year in the Dome they were 3-6. That means they're 4-9. They're 4-9 in their last 13 in the Dome. I mean, it's just it's not what in the Saints' heyday. The Dome was as tough a place for anybody to play in the league. The Saints were rocking. The place was bonkers. It's loud. It's indoors. All the noise bouncing around. It's just not that anymore. So much of that is the crowd feeding off the team and the team feeding off the crowd. And when you're not very good, a lot of that goes by the wayside. And one more point as well, just speaking of Rattler, Rattler played both games against Tampa a year ago. And in the first half of the game in the Dome, the Saints got down, and then they put up a 27-point second quarter behind Rattler. At halftime, Todd Bowles says, bleep this, we're just blitzing the hell out of you. And the second half was miserable, and the Saints ended up losing 51-27. Saints get shut out in the second half, and that Tampa defense just crushed Rattler. He ended up 22 of 40 for 243, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And then in the game in Tampa, the Saints only scored 19 points, and it was a repeat. He was 26 of 42 for 240, a touchdown. So he protected the football better. But again, like, the inability to run the football, having to throw 40-plus times, it's not a recipe for success against Todd Bowles' defense, which has had a lot of success against this quarterback in particular in the 2 games that they faced him a year ago. Tampa's just a better team.
Tampa's a good team. Tampa's a better team for sure. And the Saints are not very good. I mean, let's be honest. You mentioned them getting healthy. Who's getting healthy?
Well, you look at the injury report, and you've lost Eric McCoy, and you've lost Kendre Miller for the season. But everybody else on the injury report is available. Devon Gottschall had a rest day, but Juwan Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Chase Young are the others listed. They all practice, and they're all going to play. So you don't have anybody who's questionable or out for this game other than the season-ending injuries to McCoy and Miller. But you look at Tampa, they got 17 dudes on their injury report. Like I mentioned, Chris Godwin's out, Luke Haggard's out, Bucky Irving's out, Hassan Reddick is out, and then Vita Vea is questionable for this football game. So your top 2 receivers are out, although Emeka Ibuka has been awesome. Your lead running back, Bucky Irving, is out. Your best pass rusher, Hassan Reddick, is out. Vita Vea is questionable. So that's
reading that
that's
report.
Not nothing.
I'm reading that report. Teddy Bridgewater's out teeth. So what we got? He got a new grill?
Guy needs to make sure he's flossing.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on with Teddy.
Damn.
Maybe had a root canal or something. I don't know. But yeah, Teddy missed practice this week with teeth. He's got teeth.
Missed practice with teeth. Okay.
Missed practice with teeth. So what do you think?
I think the Bucs are going to win. It's first time picking against the Saints this year, but
That's not true.
I'm off the Saints train.
I think you picked against them when they played the Giants when I picked them to win.
Yeah, that's right. Who are you picking?
So for what it's worth, not that this has been super hard, I've hit every game for the Saints so far this year. The only game I picked them to win was the Giants, and they won that game at home. So I've had a really good finger on the pulse with this team. I don't think it's been particularly hard because a lot of this has been the Saints being a not very good team, playing teams that are just flat better than them. I think this is a game that's very similar to the games we've seen the Saints play in the Dome already this year. They have been better at home. The Saints have played closer games at home. They've been blown out on the road. All 3 road games, they've lost by double digits at Seattle, at Buffalo, and then last week in Chicago. They just have not been able to take it on the road and perform well. At home, they've been in position to win all of their games at home. They've been in position to win all of them. They've had opportunities. But when you're not a good team, you don't capitalize on those opportunities. And the Saints are not a good team. And I'm not criticizing Spencer Rattler as the reason the Saints are 1-6, but the point that I've made about Rattler is he's not at a point where he's capable of elevating the team.
Yeah.
Like what you just said about Baker late in games making plays. They played San Francisco 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and there was a play right before halftime where Baker does this Houdini thing on a 3rd and long, and he avoids the sack, he breaks out of a tackle, he runs for the first down, and the next play, boom, Tez gets a deep ball down the middle, and just a fingertip grab on the nose of the football, and it's like a lesser player has taken the sack. Yeah. Baker keeps the drive going, then boom, drops a dime, and they score, and it's like those are the types of differentiators that Baker Mayfield is making for this team and that Spencer Rattler hasn't made. Again, I don't think Rattler's costing the Saints games, but he's not elevating a team that needs someone that can elevate them. Like those Drew Brees teams, the back-to-back-to-back 7 and 9 teams in 14, 15, 16, those were terrible defensive teams that were void of talent largely on offense outside of Drew. But they were 7 and 9 because they had a Hall of Fame quarterback. If they had a lesser player, those are 2-3 win teams picking in the top 5 of the draft. But he elevated them. And then, of course, they hit in the 17 draft, and they went on that second great run. That's what Rattler's not capable of doing right now. And I don't think even with an injured Tampa Bay team, I don't think he's capable of doing it. I also think the other part of this weekend is, and you can say this is funny or whatever, but Mike D gave us this betting angle years ago where teams that lose their starting center fail to cover the spread the next week 80% of the time. And Eric McCoy was injured, so they're going into this game without their starting center, new starting center, Luke Fortner. So I think the Vita Vea injury is very significant. If Fortner has to mess with Vita Vea, and that dude is just bum rushing, if he's available, he's bum rushing Luke Fortner right into Spencer Rattler's face the whole game. Like, that's a real problem for the Saints offense. Plus, I don't think the Saints are very good at running the football. They're not very good at running the football, just when you look at them right now, or doing much of anything offensively. The Saints they're 24th in passing, they're 22nd in rushing, they're 29th in scoring. Like, the Saints offense isn't very good. And then defensively, they allow nearly 27 points a game, which is 27th in the NFL. They're not a good team. And oh, by the way, Blake Grupe stinks. He just keeps missing kicks. So when you've had opportunities to get points, your kicker isn't converting. There's just no reason for me to pick New Orleans other than you'd say, well, the home team, division game, you're familiar with the opponent. I can't get there in this game with New Orleans. I do think it's one of those where the Saints probably in the fourth quarter or in a one-possession game and have a chance to make a play to win it. I just don't trust that they're going to do it where Baker has. So give me the Bucs 25-20 to win this game and drop the Saints to 1-7 on the season. You want to throw a score? You don't have to.
Nah, I mean, I think the Bucs are going to win.
All right. And by the way, after this, the Saints go at the Rams, at the Panthers. And like I said, every road game they've lost this year has been by double digits. And your next two are on the road after this. So I think you're looking at going into your bye 1-9. I think you're going to lose the next 3 weeks. You're going to be 1-9 going into your bye. And I'll be curious if that's the time when maybe they look at making a change and we see Tyler Shuck. Because like we keep saying, eventually you're going to have to learn what you have in Shuck to know if you're going into the draft in April looking for a quarterback in the top 5. You're going to have to play him at some point. I'm not saying it's today, I'm not saying or this weekend or in the next, but at some point you're going to have to play him to see what it looks like against NFL defenses. Yeah. And with every loss, you're getting closer. You're getting closer to that.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.